Hi, this is Professor Wolber from appinventor.org. I'm going to show you how to use the slider component. It's a new component in App Inventor and App Inventor 2, which we're using here today. I got the Paintpot app open, okay? And in the Paintpot app, the way it's set up right now, there's this variable called dot size, and there's these two buttons that allow me to change that variable from 2 to 8, right? So if I click on this large button, I can draw circles that are bigger, and if I click on the small button, they go back to smaller. And really what I'm doing is changing the variable, and then when I draw circles, I use that variable. Okay, instead we're going to use a slider, and we'll put it up here, and that slider will determine how big the circles are drawn. So it's a better UI component, right? And the user can kind of slide that thing to get bigger or smaller circles. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the designer, and I'm going to add a slider component, and I'm just going to try to stick it right in on this horizontal arrangement. I guess I missed it there, so let's get it right there. There we go. Okay, so I've got this slider, okay, and I'll just change the color to, I don't know, what have we not used? How about magenta? I don't know if that's a good color or not. Max value, I think I'm going to make it about 30, okay. Min value, why not let them be pretty small, 2. And the thumb position, this is like the current value. So the thumb is this little guy in the midst of the bigger slider, and I'm going to set it to 15. Okay, and I'm also going to kind of make this thing wider, so I'm going to make the width, I don't know, 100 pixels for the whole slider. So that's just the width of the thing. And notice probably this little guy in here should show up bigger because that's how it'll show up in the real app. Okay, so I've got a slider. It's going to go between 2 and 30. So the left side will be 2, the right side will be 30, and it'll start off as 15. All right, so let's go back to the blocks. Okay, we're not going to use global dot size anymore. In fact, we're not going to use any of these guys. And we want our radius now to be determined based on where the slider is. Okay, so if I click on the slider, I can get a property block. Okay, and it says color left. I don't want color left, but I do want a slider property. Okay, and the property I want is the thumb position. That's going to tell me the current value of the thumb that the user slided it to. Okay, I think I'm ready. Let's test this guy out in the emulator. So here's the app in the emulator. You notice I've got my slider bar up here now. When I start off, I can draw things, and I imagine I think we set it as 15 pixels as the default, right? So I think that's 15. Now if I move this guy over to the left, I should get little tiny ones, right? And I can move it over to the right and get much bigger ones. Okay, so I think the slider bar is kind of working. And the key to know is you've got this thumb position, which is its current value, and then you got a min and a max you can set, and then you can use it wherever you want. Okay. Now we might want to, in our UI, we'd probably want to have a label that maybe shows what number has been chosen with the slider, so it could actually show it for us. Okay. And we might want to just label the scene so the user knows what the heck they're doing when they slide this bar.